Secrets, if you really look at yourself, you would be speechless. What happened to being doctors and teachers? What happened to being your brother's keeper? Nowadays, kids
For the past 5 days, did you check on me? Did you look for me? I walked in the room, eyes are red, and I don't smoke banga. Did you check on me? Did you look for me? Nobody will know the paranoia. I put a smile on my face. If I saw you, can never face. Oh, if you don't know me well, you won't see how bad I am inside my brain. Oh, you see people don't really know. They don't really know you. Cause you see people, they don't really know you. Oh, I've been drinking more than the desperate. Oh, did you check on me? Yeah. Did you look for me?
Alright y'all, so we back. Welcome to another BandClap TV rant video. This video is gonna be, I don't want to say it's gonna be short because it may be short, it may not be. I just want to talk on this one. No crazy pictures, nothing like that. You know, this is the old rant video style. You know, for those who been watching me since like 2017. Usually when I do my rant videos, it's just me talking, some music in the background, not a lot of pictures and stuff like that, because I really want y'all to understand what I'm saying and all of that. Right now, I'm in the beautiful Atlanta, Georgia. I've been here for the last 2 weeks, and if it wasn't for the internet connection here being so effed up, I would have went live. But with the current circumstances, I'm just gonna do it this way. And this is going to be like a Shadow Work Ain't Pretty 1.5. So on this topic, I got a lot that I want to talk about. I got a lot of things that I want to cover. But before I get into that, I got to let you all know that I give readings. If you would like to get a reading from me, go to www.bandclaptv.com. Click on my service tab and you'll be able to check out all the different readings that I offer. I offer natal chart readings, card readings, and my Everything is Everything reading is my bestseller. No matter what I'm going through, that's one of the things that is therapeutic for me. Reading people's natal charts, showing them different things about who they are that they can study on their own, and just being that person to help to set you on the right road so you can get started doing your own shadow work and going up your own stages of enlightenment, which is very important when we're talking about dealing with insecurities. So there was some live streams that I did in 2021, and I talked about blessed assurance and blessed insurance. And pretty much I was talking about when it comes to blessed assurance, that stems more from the feminine, because we're talking about unconditional love, that unconditional type of protection. This deals more with the emotional and the spiritual. It's that feeling of everlasting protection and stuff like that. And then you have blessed insurance, and that comes from the masculine. And with blessed insurance, it's like a sense of being protected physically and being protected mentally, but it only lasts a certain length of time, because blessed insurance is not something that's supposed to just last forever, meaning that you have to keep putting in the work to keep your blessed insurance up to date. Just like how when you have car insurance or home insurance, it's something that you would only have for like a month, and then you gotta keep paying on it to keep it current. And then once your circumstances change, or you get a new car, or you get a new house or something like that, that old insurance policy is no longer going to work with the new things that you got, which means you got to update your policy. With every upgrade, with every change, you got to keep upgrading this insurance, meaning that when we're talking about us as people, to keep yourself mentally astute and intelligent, and to keep yourself physically astute, physically in shape and stuff like that, it's a constant grind. You know, you gotta, that's why it's called working out. You know, you have to constantly keep working out. You gotta constantly eat right. You have to constantly be on a quest for knowledge so you can stay mentally sharp. And it's not something that you can slack on, because when it comes to that blessed insurance, you and everyone else around you are going to see the results in your procrastination, are going to see the results in your old, outdated intelligence and line of thinking and stuff like that. So why did I bring that up? When you look at the etymology of the word insecurity, it talks about unsafe, also not fully assured, not free from fear or doubt. So now when you hear that word not fully assured, that falls under the blessed assurance, which is emotional and spiritual. So someone who is insecure, it is a internalized emotional response. And a lot of the things that we're insecure about, it stems from things that happen to us in the physical world, coupled with a lack of knowing and a lack of understanding that beyond this meat suit, beyond this body, you are surrounded by unconditional love. So how does these insecurities start? Or why is it so easy for us to have insecurities? So the best way I can kind of describe this, today is Sunday, and I was raised Christian, so I can break this down like this. We have God, which is source, where everything originates from. And then you have Jesus, which represents your higher self, which is the perfect manifestation that God wanted to express God's self in. This being has the same powers, the same spiritual energy of God, and he represents the word that was with God. Now us as men and women, we're created in the image and likeness of our higher selves. But down here on earth, which is a prism or a prison, and you know what happens when you take light and you put it on a prism, and how that beam of light separates and it turns into different colors and different versions of that one light source. In a lot of ways, we represent the disciples. And when you take a close look at the disciples, they all had the capacity to do the things that Jesus did. And some of them was able to go on to do some of those things, but they all had an insecurity. They all had something about them that made them criticized, that made them ostracized. They all had something that they had to learn how to discipline within themselves so that they can rise up and understand that everything that Jesus was doing, they also had the capacity to do some of those things as well. And that's what makes us perfectly imperfect. Every single person in this world has some type of insecurity that is within them, simply because nobody's perfect. And a lot of times, the reason why you're here is to explore these insecurities, understand what they are, so that you can learn how to overcome them. And this is where shadow work comes in. This is where getting to know your inner child comes in. And you doing these things strengthens your connection to your higher self. In that moment, when you're able to understand that the you in this physical world ain't shit for real, because greater is he or she that is in you than the you that's in the world. And you're able to see your higher self in all of its glory, in all of its perfection. It gives you a type of joy and a type of self-esteem that the world or anyone in this world can't take away from you. And this type of high vibrational energy is something that this world or this prison or this prism that we're living in dreads to happen, because you going on this journey is going to be very similar to the story of the crucifixion, the resurrection, and the ascension. And this world that we're living in, as you all can see, it's not geared towards ascension. It's geared towards reincarnation. When you wake up in the morning and throughout the day, all that should be on your mind, the first thing that you think about waking up should be, what can I do today to upgrade myself? What can I do today to better myself so that I can be more like my higher self? What can I learn today to be more like my higher self? What can I connect with today that's going to make me more like my higher self? This is the reason why we like to talk about our ancestors and how they were so high vibrational and how we were able to do all of these miraculous things. It was because we had a lot of time to meditate. We had a lot of different herbs and we had a lot of different things at our disposal that is hard or damn near impossible for you to get now. And there wasn't a whole lot of distractions like that. But look at how the world is now. Everything is based on material. Everything is based on social acceptance. And all of these type of things are based on illusion. And the more you internalize these quote unquote perfect illusions, it makes you feel less than. It makes you feel unnoticed. It makes you feel insecure. Instead of you thinking about what can I do to be more like my higher self and feeling good about the victories that you achieved the day before. You wake up now, you're thinking about going to work at this job that you don't like. You're thinking about what should I post on social media so I can keep up this fake image. You're thinking about what do I need to do so I can make some money, so I can pay the rent, so I can pay bills. All these things that have nothing to do with what really matters, which is your ascension. And this is why you're seeing this mental and emotional deterioration when it comes to people. And you know, Big Pharma, they don't care about this because this gives them a chance to diagnose you with some type of mental illness. So now you gotta be on these drugs and stuff that's messing up your liver, messing up your body, messing up your brain functions and all that type of stuff. The law enforcement and the people that are behind the jails and all that stuff, they don't care about you doing that shadow work so you can learn about your higher self and understand your insecurities. Because as a man, the more you revel and the more you relish in your insecurities, you're gonna always find yourself trying to prove your manhood to other guys in an either toxic or hyper masculine type of way, because that's all you was raised up on seeing, and that's gonna land you in jail. That's gonna land you in prison. And the more people that are in jail and in prison now, those companies and those entities are getting rich off of exploiting your insecurity. The crooked religious organizations that are all about feel good Bible verses and prosperity preaching that only leads to the pastor getting rich. As long as you're still insecure and you don't understand on a spiritual level who your higher self is, you're going to be the one person that pastor can always depend on to come there, give him your money, thinking that if you give him money, he'll be able to do some type of miracle for you that can mask this insecurity that you have. When at the end of the day, this is a self journey and there's no shortcut to get out of this. And it's best that you do it now while you're in the land of the living and not wait until your time is up here, because we know the lingering side effects that comes with these insecurities. And we know how this can lead to things like depression, suicidal thoughts, all these different emotional things that make your heart heavy. And when your heart is heavy like this and you're going to sleep and that's all you're thinking about and you're internalizing these insecurities and stuff like that, this is what leads to you having a hard time transitioning, because your heart has to be lighter than a feather. See, the beautiful thing that you learn when you go on this shadow work journey and you meet your higher self and you meet your inner child, and I'm speaking from experience because this is something that I went through. You learn that your higher self represents the perfect version of you. Everything that you feel like that you're not in this physical world is everything that your higher self has already mastered. And just you knowing that and you seeing that alone is going to be the most therapeutic thing that you're ever going to experience. And aside from every distraction that this world tries to throw at you and make it seem important, the real thing that you need to be figuring out is that we're all here to master a certain discipline. And along with your higher self that's supposed to be leading you and guiding you, you also have spirit guides, sometimes that come in the form of humans as well, to help you with the mastering of this discipline. And again, you know, this is why shadow work is so important, because these spirit guides might come in the form of people that you once looked at as bullies, people who may have abused you in the past, or people that you just felt like did you wrong. But in order for you to build tough skin so you can learn this discipline, these things had to happen. It was something in your life path that was meant to happen so you can get to this point. This is where the whole God works in mysterious ways comes from. And the beautiful thing about this is once you get this confirmation from your meditation, I like that, confirmation through your meditation, as above, so below, you have spiritual tools here that you can use to confirm and just bring more information into learning about what is it that your higher self was trying to accomplish, the reason why you had to be deployed here. You can do this through astrology, learning about what's in your north node, learning about your Chiron placement, your palace placement, learning about what's in your 10th house. You can learn this through numerology, you know, learning about your life path and your heart's desire numbers. You can learn this through tarot, asking questions spiritually and then pulling the cards and being able to decipher them and things like that. I know so many readers. I know so many readers who they can give other people stellar reading, but when it comes to them reading themselves, it's hard for them to do it, because when you're giving yourself a reading, it's like you have to take yourself and your biases out of it when you're trying to decipher the message that the cards are trying to give you. And I think for me, this was one of the biggest hurdles that I even had to get over. But just like I said in my last live stream about the journey to remembrance, look at all of these factors that you have to do in order for you to really be on your path, in order for you to really understand who you are, so that you can understand where these insecurities come from and how you can overcome them. For the most part, you got to be in control of how you spend your time. And I feel like with the hustle and bustle, you know, the things that this world wants to try to make important in your life, the things that this world tries to make you worry over and all that type of stuff, the hardest thing for people to do is to take control of their time, because you got to go to work, you got to take care of your kids, you got to go to school, you got all of these earthly distractions, and it's easy throughout the day for you to forget the main thing that you're supposed to be thinking about, which is, what can I do today to be closer to my higher self? So the reason why I chose what I chose as the beginning song, that song really touched me. Not because I'm someone that dealt with alcoholism, but simply because, being honest with myself, I grew up with a form of depression, especially when I was in school. Because just like in La Bianca's song, when she was like, you know, people, they don't really know you and stuff like that. It's crazy how sometimes a illness can end up being your biggest blessing, because like I always told y'all, I always had issues sleeping because I had skin issues. I had eczema really bad. I had psoriasis in my head. I was an asthmatic, so I had trouble breathing and stuff like that. And so I wouldn't scratch myself to death. I would be put on this medicine, I'm gonna call it, to help me to sleep at night. And me being on this medicine to help me sleep at night, I was able to go into really deep sleep. And when I would go into this deep sleep, I would have dreams of this version of me in the astral realm. And this version of me was pretty much everything that I wish I was in the physical and more. And I've always been able to turn into this version of me when I would go to sleep. This version of me could fly. I had these Star Wars-like powers where I was able to move things with my mind. I was able to climb on these huge rock formations like mountains, and I was able to climb it like Spider-Man. I had this super fast agility, and last but not least, access to all the goddesses that I could think of. And this is something that I would have consistent dreams of since I was like 7 or 8 years old. And I remember I would go on these dope adventures, things that I would write these short stories and stuff like that in my English class, and my teacher would be so fascinated and give me A+ and stuff like that, not knowing that in another dimension I was really doing that shit. I was really doing that stuff. So I would wake up from these dreams and I would just feel so empowered, which in turn gave me a I am not this body type of energy. So with me, the insecurities that I had, it never went past the blessed insurance part. When I would get bullied and when I would get talked about and stuff like that at school, the main thing I was thinking in my head was like, y'all don't really know who I am for real, because I can't really be who I am for real, because right now I just don't have the money and I don't have the resources to be that. So this person that you seeing in front of you is only a fraction of who I really am. And my depression came from, since I came up poor, my mom wasn't able to buy me Jordans and the freshest clothes and the freshest belts and all that type of stuff. My dad, he didn't have the money to get me the name brand medicine that I would need to clear up my skin, and the generic brands, they just didn't work. So I would be in school, it's hot outside, and I'm wearing long sleeve shirts trying to cover my arms and my legs because of the rashes that I had, always having to go to the office because of my asthma and stuff like that. But in the back of my mind, I was always like, yo, y'all may not see it now, but once I grow up and once I gain control of the money and the resources that I need to really heal myself and to get the things to where I'm able to wear the style of clothes and stuff like that that I want to wear, y'all are going to be sorry for checking me and ostracizing me and all that type of stuff. So with me, the older I got, the more confident I got, because I knew that every grade I passed to, every age I've gotten older, I'm getting closer and closer to me being grown, closer and closer to me being able to be the boss of myself. But then once I got grown, now my face is clear, my asthma gone, I got my J's, I got my swag and all that type of stuff on point. Now I didn't hit another crossroad, because it seems like now that I got my stuff together, it seems like no one is checking for me no more. No one is noticing me anymore. I done got me a car, got me a good job, working on getting my place, doing all the things that you're supposed to do as a grown man. I'm feeling confident. I'm on that journey where I'm gaining knowledge of self. So I'm starting on my shadow work journey, doing all of these different things just for one of my soul family members to drop this huge bombshell on me. It's like, yo, you're living in a world where you have lost and hurt children that are living in adult bodies. And you know what they say, like attracts like. So until they gain knowledge of self and start going on the same journey that you're on, your vibration and your energy field that you're in is too high for them to even notice you, which led me going deep into a hermit mode, because I don't want to conform to what society and what social media deems as someone that's noticeable or attractive in that type of way. So June of this year came. My dad's birthday was on the 3rd. That's when I posted that video of him on Instagram. And that's also the day that I found out that my uncle, who stays a couple houses down, passed away. And he's a Virgo too. When I was younger, me and him was very, very close. He ended up becoming a lot more reclusive the older I got. But every time we talked, he always had some prophetic things. He always had some motivating things to say. So that month was spent mourning, a lot of emotional letting go and things like that. Then July came, which was more emotionally draining, taking my dad to the hospital and, all those type of things. And then at the end of July, I got extremely sick. And then we get to August. I had these two dreams. One, I would say like the second week of August, before I ended up coming to Atlanta. And then the second dream I had a couple days ago, which really, really prompted me to make this video. So at this point, I'm down, I'm emotionally down, spiritually I'm drained, mentally I just going through the motions, all that type of stuff. So I have this dream, and in this dream, I'm this person again. I'm my higher self. And I end up going to this ultimate ninja place where the inside is like this huge obstacle course. Now, in this dream, it was like I knew I was a lot older. Like I felt older, but the energy that I had was like a 14-year-old, like a 14-year-old or a 15-year-old. Like I had so much energy. So there were these teenagers, and they saw me looking at the obstacle course and all that type of stuff. And they was like, I don't know why you're here, old man. You can't do this, all that type of stuff. And I said, oh, is that what you think? Is that what you think? And so they challenged me to a race. They challenged me to a race around the whole obstacle course. Now, mind you, these were like teenagers. These were like 13-year-old, 14, 15-year-olds. They were really, really young. So I said, okay, cool. So we end up doing it. They say go, and I just burst off with this unbelievable speed. I'm over here flipping, jumping, rolling. It got to a point where there was like this monkey bar thing. And I remember I got so far away from them. So I hopped on top of the bar, and then I hung upside down like Spider-Man, just waiting on them to kind of get close. And then I darted off again. So it got to the point where the teenagers, they just stopped competing. They was just staring in awe and just cheering me on as I'm just going through this whole obstacle course. And I'm killing it. So after I completed it, I turned all of them into fans. They was like, oh my God, yo, that was so dope. Wow. And so I remember this Asian guy. He was like, yo, can I get a picture of you doing the Spider-Man thing again? And I said, sure. So I hopped on top of the bar, but this time I kind of did the Spider-Man crouch, but I did it upright. And he had this old school Polaroid camera. And so he snapped a picture. Now, remind you, I've been having these dreams about me as my higher self. I've been having these dreams since I was like 7 or 8 years old. I've never seen what I look like in that realm. I've never seen what I look like in that realm. Then he hands me the picture. So when you got those Polaroid pictures, you got to shake it until it becomes visible. And I can't even lie. To this day, I still have that image in my head of who I was or who I am. It was so crazy how alike we looked. Him being the original copy, like the original being that I was made to look like. So I was right. I was an elder. But like Dr. Sebi, I kept myself in pristine health. So I was old. It looked like maybe I was in like my 50s or 60s. But body-wise, I looked like I was in my 20s. I ain't have no gray hair. I had all black hair. I was a lot more slender. I was slender like I was as a kid. I had silver glasses, almost the same type of glasses that I would get ridiculed when I was in the 5th grade. But the biggest thing that stood out to me, when I looked at my wrist, I had this gold watch with a blue bezel and it said Rolex. So when I got up, I looked online and I typed in gold Rolex watch with the blue bezel and I found it. That watch is like a $9 million watch. So the real me, even though the me down here is struggling, I'm over here door dashing, I'm over here trying to do what I can do so I can keep money in my pocket and stuff like that. The me that I was made in the image of is rich as hell. And I had this black sleeve over it, which showed me that I was rich, but I was humble. I wasn't snooty. I wasn't stuck up. And that made me feel good inside because I feel like in this life with me, I'm going to be the same way. I want to be able to amass wealth and resources and things like that. But I don't want those things to change who I am as a person as well. I still want to be able to have my pristine health so I can hang out with the kids and things like that. Be able to own organizations and things like that to help the children and all of that with my wealth and my resources. And I can't lie, when I woke up, I was just in a daze. I just had to just sit there and just think, like, all the things that I've ever felt insecure about. These were all disciplines. These were all things that I was meant to overcome, because everything that I feel like I'm not and everything that I feel like I'm working towards, the higher me, my higher self, has already mastered those things. And I feel like this is the reason why, even when I was in my depression phases and things like that, it never got to the point where I started doing things to hurt myself or doing things that could land me somewhere out of the land of the living. Now, it took me a lot of shadow work to get to that point, and the shadow work is not done, because every day I'm striving to be more and more and more like my higher self, the higher me, the me that got it all figured out. Now, this second dream that I had, this is the dream that showed me if you don't do the shadow work that you're supposed to do here while you're on earth, this dream kind of showed me what the judgment is going to entail. So now, as I'm doing the things to gain the knowledge and stuff like that, when I'm lucid in the astral realm, I understand that since I'm not me in the physical, that means that I don't have the limitations that I would have here. This is one of the biggest things that you need to learn, especially when you're talking about dealing with your insecurities. Understanding that your imperfections, or what you feel like are imperfections, are actually what makes you unique. And however you were made when you were born, that was perfectly how your higher self wanted you to be. I feel like that's one of the biggest things that is hard for us to learn, because we live in this world of a illusion of perfection, and these illusionary superstars and stuff like that are being put in front of you as a gauge, saying this is what it looks like to be the perfect man, or this is what it looks like, this is the social interaction that you're going to receive or that you're going to get when you succumb to this illusion of being this perfect man or this perfect woman. And when it comes to every race has an illusion like this. I've heard in Asian cultures, their standard of beauty is so strict that it goes all the way down to you got to have a certain shoe size in order to be deemed as beautiful or socially acceptable. So you have these parents and they have these daughters, and when they're young, they do something to disfigure their bones in their feet so that when they grow up, they would have that perfect shoe size. Like, it's crazy. And I can't even begin to talk about the brainwashing that we've been going through when it comes to what is the standard of beauty for a black man, or what is the standard of strength. Because when it comes to men and when it comes to women, men are judged on their strength. Women are judged on their beauty. So when a man on the outside trying to adhere to these social norms and stuff like that, when he doesn't feel strong, he would do things on the outside that will make him look good, and it gives off a false appearance of strength, like taking steroids to build up your muscles prematurely, spending all your money getting muscle cars, doing illegal things to make money so you can have this illusion of being a rich boss or something like that, buying guns, not just to protect yourself and stuff like that, but just for show, to make you seem more intimidating than what you actually are. Because in this social construct, these are the hypermasculine things that especially us black men have been taught, that this is what makes you a man. This is what makes you appear strong. This is what makes you appear powerful. And if you don't care about any of these things, then you're not a man for real. And then on the women's side, Whitney Houston said it best in The Greatest Love of All. Show them all the beauty that they possess inside and let that give them a sense of pride. When a girl feels unpretty, when a woman feels like they're not beautiful on the inside, meaning that they've lost contact with their higher selves that represent the great mother, that represent Yemoya, that represent the 8080, the great mothers of civilization. The social construct when it comes to black women is to do different things to make them appear overly strong. So it gets deeper than the weave, the makeup, the lashes, because these are things that you feel like strengthens your attraction level. It starts to get really, really toxic when you agree to go through a extremely dangerous, life-threatening surgery that will alter your body for the rest of your life with the sole purpose of trying to fit in a social construct, and also thinking that the only way that you can truly feel successful as a woman is to relinquish the things that would be considered as feminine and voluntarily putting yourself in stressful masculine environments because you feel like that's what you need to do in order for you to appear strong. But both of these things are toxic. And when you get down to the nitty-gritty of it, it all has to do with covering up insecurities that hasn't been dealt with. So in this particular dream, I was my higher self, and the world that I was in, it was like a upside down from this world. So when Bobby Hemmett is like, the world that we're living in now is called the upside down world, but the world where we come from is right side up. That's exactly the dream that I had. In the world that I'm from, and also the world that a lot of you all are from, the right side is up, meaning that the people who are truly righteous are the ones that end up being in high positions. In this world, the people that you think are righteous because they're in high positions, they're the most evil, and they do the most sinister stuff behind closed doors. So in this realm, you know, we're about to start school again and all of that. In the realm in my dream, we were taking final exams and school is about to be out and you're about to graduate and go to the next level. So depending on who you are and the things that you're trying to do, you get to choose what your final exam is, because your final exam is going to be your judgment. And if you fail this exam, you got to go to, it was like a purgatory type of place that you go to. Kind of like in this world, when you fail and you got to go to summer school or you got to repeat the grade over, that was kind of how that was. So just like the final exams in this realm, in that realm, the final exam had to do with you having to go through something that represented the hardest insecurity, the hardest thing that you had to get over, and you had to show how you've progressed. Or if you haven't been doing your shadow work, you're going to show that you haven't been doing what you're supposed to do, which means now you got to go to purgatory, which is pretty much this place where ISIS has to tell you, you are not this body. The things that you went through were to make you stronger, all that type of stuff. It was like a therapy, but it's a lot longer, it's a lot more drawn out, and there's a lot of heavy-hearted souls that are there that you're going to have to be around until you understand that. So I looked at the paper that had all the different exams and stuff that you can choose, and me, the one I chose, it was like a checking competition because that was the biggest thing that I went through in school. Now, since I've been doing my shadow work and understanding who I am and all that type of stuff, in my mind, I was like, man, this is about to be a piece of cake. I'm about to get an A+ and I'm about to get on up out of here. Now, there were two women that was in this dream and I recognized them because these two girls I went to school with. So now, of course, I'm going to change their names up. So one of the girls' name was Tanya. The other girl name, I'll just call her Maya. Okay, so the way it worked, we were all split up into teams and there were 4 teams and I think there were like 5 people in each team. Each person in the team, when it was their turn, they got beamed up to a virtual area that reminded them of the thing that they went through that caused their biggest insecurity, which the exam that I was in, everybody went to a place where they got talked about the most, they got checked the most, they got laughed at the most, and there was a being there that they had to do a roasting battle with. If you passed the roasting battle, you got an A on your exam. If you failed, you got to depend on one of your other team members to pass. Now, if the whole team fails, everybody goes to purgatory. But if one person on your team is able to pass and everybody else on the team failed, the people in the team that failed, they don't necessarily have to go to purgatory. They're able to try again until it gets down to the last person. So that's how it was. So I remember when Tanya, when it was time for her to sign up, me and her kind of had the same type of attitude. You know, she was like, oh shit, this about to be easy. I'm about to pass this, all that type of stuff. And she was among one of the first teams to go up. Now, the other people on your team, they're not allowed to see what it is that you had to go through that made you pass or fail, because you know that's your insecurity. You know, that's what you have to deal with. But whatever it was, as soon as she saw that and she had to face it, she ended up failing. Now, the beautiful thing about her is she had some people on her team that passed, so she was able to get a chance to try again. That was until she was the last standing and she ended up failing. Some background on Tanya, because me and her, we went to school together. We went to elementary school and middle school together. And the thing about Tanya, she was always a beautiful girl. Like, she was always beautiful. She had a lot of talent. She could sing. She could have been an actress. Like, she had a lot of things going for her. But the issue with Tanya was she was one of those beautiful girls who never thought she was beautiful. Like, she never felt like she was beautiful enough. Now, this girl, she had a pretty face. She had a nice, you know, slender body. She didn't have no ass or nothing like that because we were all kids. You know, everybody goes through their growth spurt, I guess what you call it, puberty spurt. Everybody goes through that in different ages. And Tanya, she taught me a very valuable lesson even as a kid, because I was always one of the ones to tell her how beautiful she was, and you know, you look good today. You know, I like the way your hair looked today and stuff like that, because it would always be situations to where the teacher would put me and her together to do projects and stuff. And what she showed me was, as a man, you can try your hardest to make a woman notice the beauty that she has inside and even on the outside. But if that's one of her insecurities that she hasn't done that shadow work on, it's nothing that you're going to be able to do as a person outside of her to make her notice what she needs to have noticed on her own. Shadow work is a self journey. Dealing with your insecurities and being able to understand them and overcome them is a self journey. And it's not until you go on that journey and you see that and you notice that yourself that someone else will be able to tell you certain things and you'll be able to confirm it because you know that about yourself. So since she never really looked at herself as beautiful like that, she would always surround herself with the quote unquote popular girls. And the thing about it is, these popular girls didn't have nothing on her. Like, they were only the popular girls because they were a lot more loud, they were a lot more outspoken, you know, they were a lot more scantily clad and stuff like that than she was. But again, you know, she just couldn't see that. Now, one thing when it comes to women as well, since they live in their emotion and they're a lot closer to that spiritual type of essence, a lot of times when they have insecurities that deals with their beauty and stuff like that, not feeling like that they're enough, not feeling like that they're beautiful enough, or not feeling like they're worthy enough, these things can pierce through just the mental and just the physical. And once it gets to that point to where even when you go to sleep, the you that you dream about is not perfect. The you that you dream about is not worthy and is not enough. These are the type of women to where if they never get that therapy and they never get that help on being able to reverse these insecurities, these can be the most beautiful looking women that you will ever see. You know, the most beautiful baddie, perfect body, Coke bottle, beautiful face, flawless skin. She can be anything she want to be. And these are the ones that you read about that took their lives. These are the ones that you read about that overdosed. These are the ones that you read about that can't seem to stay in relationships because as soon as that guy shows an ounce of a feeling of love or something like that, she gets scared. She gets afraid of that type of energy because it's foreign to her, because that's not even something that she shows to herself. So she sabotages the relationship. She does things to run guys away that could potentially give her that life that she dreams of having. And this is what I call the unfulfilled baddies. And that's something that is running very rampant, you know, and this isn't just for black women. This is for all different types of women that you hear about this happening to. Now, while this is going on, because I'm a part of the last team, you know, there's already 2 other teams in front of me. So I end up leaving the little stadium or whatever where this is happening at. And so I go to the mall. So I go to the mall. there's like a mall or some type of thing next door, and I'll go to the mall and I'll go to the video game store. So there's this new Mario game. I think it's like Mario Kart or something like that, that's coming out. And it was like the first few people that can get to the mall, because I guess in this world you gotta unlock Bowser. You gotta unlock Bowser because Bowser in this world was the most powerful player in the game or something like that. So I'm like, man, forget this. I know I'll be able to pass this with flying colors. So let me go over here and get this Bowser code. So I'm over here at the mall, standing in line. I was able to get my code. As I'm doing this, Maya, she comes into the mall. She's running and she's telling me, she's like, yo, your team is up next. Your team is up next. And I'm like, what? Already? Like what happened? What happened? It's like, yo, like the last team, the whole team just got completely wiped out. And, my team got wiped out too. So, I'm be headed on to the purgatory, and we head on. And she kind of hung her head and stuff like that. And I was like, dang, all right, well, let me hurry up and get back. So this is the story about Maya. So Maya, I went to high school with Maya. It's not really a lot to say about her. She was kind of heavy set. She was a underclassman, under me. She was kind of heavy set. She had these beautiful eyes. She had this real pretty face, but she was just kind of heavy set. And she played a woodwind instrument. She played a woodwind instrument in band, and she was really good at it. Like, she was really good at playing that woodwind instrument. She was real good. She always had a smile on her face. She didn't really have like a group of friends per se that she would hang out with, but she just hung out with the other underclassmen woodwind players. And she seemed like she was pretty cool, so I didn't find out until I got into college. It was some type of post that she posted, real cryptic post. So I ended up messaging her, and it was then that I found out that she's been suffering with a chronic depression. And this took me for a loop, because I'm like, yo, she never, she wasn't, since I known her, like she was never sad. She didn't come off as sad. She didn't come off as anything like that. So I never would have known that this is what she was going through. And the older she got, she was one of those type of I guess women to where the more depressed she got, the more she would eat. It's called stress eating. So she ended up gaining a lot more weight when we got out of school. So I found this out, and it took me for a loop. And this reminds me of that La Bianca song. I've been going through all of this. Did you check on me? Did you notice me? Did you look for me? This song, what she was going through reminded me a lot of that. And I was able to sympathize with her, because I was the same way. When I was in school, I was going through depression. The only reason why I didn't crash out, because at least I had 3 outlets where I was able to kind of express myself. I had my saxophone, I had producing, and I had rapping, so those were the 3 outlets that I can kind of use to kind of show people, like I'm not just who y'all think I am, but deep down inside, like I was depressed, because I felt like I was in a prison. I was in a prison, and I'm just waiting for my release date or whatever, when I got grown, so I can get a job, so I can buy the things that I need, so I can make myself better, make my health better, make my wardrobe better and stuff like that. And then I had to think about it. The fact that I'm seeing her, I'm my higher version, my upgraded higher version of myself. But when I see her, she looks exactly the way she do in the physical world. I'm like, okay, this is how she's internalized herself that she looks. So this is the reason why she needs to go to the purgatory, because if she was her higher self, the way I'm my higher self, she would have aced that test. So now it's my turn. Now it's my turn to do my test. And so I end up being transported to this front yard, and there's a house. Everything got cameras. There's like invisible cameras around, and the judges are inside of the house. Like I can kind of see their silhouettes through the windows. And so there was something because Maya, she thought I was just effing around when I went to the mall. But no, there was something that I did when I was in middle school, when I was in school, and I would get checked and stuff like that. I was never good at freestyling, which means I was never good at just firing checks back to back. I was never really good at that, and that's how I would always get bullied and all that type of stuff. So what I used to do before it was time to change classes and stuff like that, I would say like 5 or 6 checks and just remember them in my head and just say them over and over and over in my head, so that when it's time to change classes and I see that bully in the hallway, I'm like, oh shit, man, they go Ricky. Oh, what's up, man? Or what's up, fool? And as soon as you hear that, you got to have your stuff ready in the chamber to get at them. And you know, they come with a crowd of people to hype them up. So what I would do, I would have my 5 or 6 in the chamber. And as soon as he say, what up, fool? I fire at him. Oh, look at that nigga. What up, man? Oh, look at that nigga. Oh, look at that nigga. Oh, look at that nigga. As I walk into my class. And I timed it a certain way to where once I'm done with my last check, I'm already at the door to the classroom that I'm supposed to be going to. And that's how I will be able to get some subtle victories in those situations. So this is something that I carried with me in the Astral. So while I was over there in line waiting on my Bowser code, I had like 5 real good haymaker checks that I wrote. So what I said, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna observe the environment that I'm gonna be in, and I'm gonna take some things in the environment and I'm gonna check in with that, and then I'm gonna hit him with the haymaker. And I gotta stretch these haymakers out. So that way, if I can keep the judges laughing, that's what's going to get me the win. Like, I was extremely calculated. I was extremely analytical, extremely calculated doing this. So the arena is set, you know, the backdrop is like this backyard. And the guy that I'm going against is this real big dude. The dude was so big, I couldn't even really see his face. I couldn't even really see his head. He was so big. So the bell starts and I go in, you know, using his size. Like, man, what's up, man? Big. Like, I'm going in, talking about his size and all that type of stuff. And then I hit him with the haymaker. So I'm catching my rhythm, you know, because at this point, it's like a boxing match. You know, the dude fired back, you know, he got everybody laughing and all of that stuff. And back when I was in school, when I would hear people laughing at me, that would make me freeze up. And then I would forget what I was preparing. But in this dream, I was focused. I had that Mamba mentality. So I'm like, yeah, that's all right. But you got that. No, look at that. Like, I'm going back in. I'm going back at him. Now, another gift that my higher self has is a really keen gift of foresight, because something was about to happen within this battle that would have turned the tides and I would have ended up losing. So this dude, while I'm checking him, he grabs me by my arms. He grabs me and he's trying to pick me up off the ground. So I ended up going into That's So Raven mode for like a quick second, and I seen how the other team before me lost because they all had to go against this dude. They would be getting into their rhythm, checking them and stuff like that. And this dude, what he would do, he would pick them up off the ground. So the way it looked to the judges, you got this big dude picking this little guy up off the ground, and his legs are dangling and his arms are dangling, and he's still trying to check. He's still trying to talk. And the way it looked like he was sunning them. And it was like, that was like his finishing move. So it was like every time he did that move where he picked them up, and, you know, they're not prepared in their mind to fight. So they thinking that, well, if I just check him or whatever, I'm still gonna win. Every time he did that move, it ended up getting him the win. Because on the outside looking in, it looked like, damn, like you just gonna let him pick you up like that? You just gonna let him sun you like that? That's how it was looking. So I seen that, and then I came to. And when I came to, my feet was almost fully up off the ground. And I was hearing the judges inside. They was like, oh. And this was the best part of this dream. So I remember I looked up, and as I looked up at him, I grabbed his arms. I said, nigga, I don't think you understand who in front of you right now. You're not going against the me in the physical. You going against me in the astral. And as I said that, I did something with my weight to make myself extremely heavy. So he ended up having to put me down. So now at this point, I'm grabbing him by the arms and I'm picking him up off the ground. Now imagine this in your mind. This short dude grabbing this giant looking guy by his arms and picking him up off the ground and got his legs dangling. So in my peripheral vision, I see this cluster of birds. And so I said, not only am I finna pick you up, I'm finna swing you around and throw you into them birds over there, in my realest Memphis accent. And right as I was about to swing him around like he's some rag doll, I hear the judges, they yelling, cut, stop, time up. They over here dying laughing. The guy disappeared. The door opened and my grandmother came out the door, and she was laughing so hard, like she fell on the ground. Like she was laughing so hard, she fell out on the ground laughing. Now, mind you, my grandmother, she passed away in 2020 due to colon cancer. And this was my first time ever having a dream and, seeing my grandmother laughing and stuff like that. So this was very touching. I'm like, wow, this shit was meant for me to win all along. Like my grandmother was one of the judges. Like, wow, So it turns out I was the only person in my team who passed. There was another guy that was on my team, but he wasn't from Memphis. So he wasn't used to being checked and stuff like that. So I was literally the only person on my team that won. So because I won, everybody else on my team, you know, they had a chance to try again. They wasn't immediately sent off to purgatory. So I'm hearing all of these cheers, you know, my team, everybody crowded around me. And I kept on saying, nigga, I'm from Memphis. Like I was saying it so loud, my voice ended up going out. Like, I'm Memphis. I'm from Memphis. This is what we do. This is what we do. I'm from Memphis. I'm from Memphis. Like I kept saying that like super, super loud to the top of my lungs. I was like, I said, I had to put my team on my back like Kobe. I had to put the team on my back like Wayne before Young Money. I do this. I'm from Memphis. This is what we do. To the point where I'm waking up in my hotel room yelling it out. That was crazy. But when I woke up, it was like I felt a sense of, yo, like Pac said, I'm a changed man. I'm not the same person that I was when I was in school. I'm not the same person that I was when I was in college. I'm not even the same person that I was in Florida. I'm a new man in a place that I once lived at, but that was like 8 years ago. So nothing in Atlanta looks like the way it looked when I was there. The rent on everything has went up, but also the apartments look like mad beautiful. Like they look way better than they did back when I was living there. A lot of things have changed, but there's also so many different ways to get out here and get it if you can just keep that abundance mindset and put your mind to it. So in closing, if you out there are dealing with some insecurities and stuff like that, and you just want to understand more about yourself, you know, you want to understand, you know, why am I going through these things? Why do I feel like it's only me that has these certain things that I'm going through and that I'm facing? Let your meditation be your medication, because that's how it was for me. My journey now is learning, you know, what are the new upgrades I got, you know, what I need to do to move and operate in this newness. And y'all definitely keep me in y'all prayers and stuff like that as I'm going about this move, searching for places, searching for remote jobs. If y'all know about any remote jobs or, you know, anything like that, that could help me out, definitely put it in the comments, because it really seems like that's where everything is going. You know, everything is going remote, and me being able to do that, that'll give me a lot more time to start back making content for my channel, for me to be able to start back working on Issues World, which I love so much. And I want to leave y'all with this quote. This is a quote that this lady told me, you know, the day after I ended up having that dream, and I went to Phoenix and the Dragon, which is my favorite crystal store in Atlanta. And she said, mine your mind for the jewels of your soul. And if y'all can heed that message, you will be glad that you did. All right, y'all. So I appreciate everyone who was able to watch this video to the end. If you haven't already, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Look at all of my Orisha astrology videos. I put a lot of jewels in those live streams. Once I get more stable, I'll be back creating content regularly on here, doing live streams and stuff like that. I just had to get this message out to y'all because it was very important. I didn't want to forget anything. Remember, if you all want to donate, my Cash App, my PayPal, all those things are always in the description of my videos. And like I always say, BandClap TV, we out. And remember, no matter what, you got to stay shining. You got to stay shining. What's up, y'all? I hope y'all enjoyed that video. And if you stayed to the end, I appreciate you. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, I want to redirect you to my Instagram page. I don't promote my Instagram page a lot, but as my subscriber count and things like that rise due to things like shadow banning and stuff like that, I'm hearing that a lot of people aren't getting my notifications when I go live on YouTube and stuff like that. So for all things BandClap TV, my Instagram page and my story are going to have all of the notifications and things like that when it comes to when I'm going live, when I'm going, when I'm releasing videos, when I'm releasing content. Also on my Instagram page, if you're curious about my reviews for my readings and stuff like that, as you can see on my Instagram, I have a lot of different testimonials and stuff like that. For those who don't know of me as an artist, I also have videos of me performing and stuff like that. I'll be putting out more stuff like that very, very soon. So I'm just trying to get as many people right now to go ahead and follow me on Instagram. That is BandClap TV, and also my Facebook and Snapchat, BandClap TV as well. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all, and like I always say, no matter what, you got to stay shining.